Chainsaw Man by Tatsuki Fujimoto is one of the greatest works of art to ever bless our eyes. The first episode is a test to the reader. Can you handle the series? Violence, blood, and gore? This episode is just the start of a series that can only be described as absurdly over the top. The first episode introduces our main character, Denji. We see him living in poverty, barely scraping by. He gets ambushed and becomes Chainsaw Man. I won't bother to go into detail since you guys probably checked out our Chainsaw Man Season 1 recap before watching this. I will say that world building is fantastic. You actually feel immersed in the world of Chainsaw Man, which is one of the series' biggest strengths. I recommend this anime to literally anyone that has the time. It's a great first-time anime, and you won't find anything quite like it. The show certainly lived up to the hype. The shining point of this show is its impeccable character development and world building. The world of Chainsaw Man is unforgiving and cruel, just like the devils our main characters go up against. In fact, they relish in the pain they cause, and humanity is constantly under threat. The never-ending threat of devils is not something that one man can take on, so it gives an interesting perspective of fighting a losing battle. Other shonen usually have the hero save the world 10 times over, but in Chainsaw Man, even saving Japan is an astronomically difficult task. It really makes you think about your place in the world and how insignificant and small our protagonists are compared to the overarching threats they face. With all three of our main characters, Denji, Aki, and Power, we begin to get glimpses into their backstories that reveal their motivations. The first backstory we get is Aki's. Aki is my personal favorite main character. Not only is he very it is what it is and I'll thug it out, his whole aesthetic just looks great. I can get into a whole Aki analysis breakdown, but my point is, he's a great character. He has a personal vendetta against all devils. After all, his family was murdered by the gun devil. Ouch. The heavy use of flashbacks only serves to exemplify how dangerous of a profession our characters are in. Devil hunting is a job where you could be brutally murdered at any moment, and it's a very real threat. Hell, semi-important side characters get killed off left and right. I'm talking about Himeno and Arai, by the way, because usually the main group members would never die unless it's some grand battle. I admit, Himeno's death serves as a driving point for the story, so her death wasn't that surprising. But the audacity of Fujimoto to just ambush every character we know so far just proves how unhinged and unique of a writer he is. Bro, if he actually killed Makima, all the simps would be up in arms. Going back to Aki, his overall theme of revenge really builds the sympathy readers feel toward him. The death of Himeno almost breaks Aki, and we get to understand how he copes with grief. Honestly, Chainsaw Man portrays PTSD and trauma extremely realistically. Denji, on the other hand, is relatable just because he wants to touch some tits. He's just like me for real. I don't have much to say about Power since she's kind of a throwaway character in my opinion. We get some development with Meowie, but after that, nothing much really happened with her. Speaking of characters, I want to talk about Kishibe. Not only is he an old badass, but he is the strongest devil hunter. Like, bro, in a world where insta-kill devils roam the streets, if you reach old age, you're just built different. I love the way Fujimoto writes his characters to make them unique and unforgettable. The grizzled old man in a profession where men die young is an underutilized trope, and Fujimoto really sells it with Kishibe. I'm not going to lie, I really like the whole style of Chainsaw Man. The shonen space has been dominated by never killing or, dying off screen. With Chainsaw Man, this whole dynamic gets flipped on its head. There was literally a controversy about how it's the goriest mainstream anime. I see you Berserk fans angrily typing, but sorry to break it to you, but the recent Berserk animation is dog water. Personally, seeing a bunch of guys in suits fighting against devils is a really cool concept, and I love the whole aesthetic. Speaking of animation, Chainsaw Man's animation team is the GOAT. Not only do they make it so that every single frame is a screenshot-worthy wallpaper, they also animated 12 separate endings. I also really like the soundtrack, and I believe Kickback is what's going to play when I enter the gates of hell when I eventually atone for my sins. The opening is so badass and hyped. Alright, taking a break from my rant, here's the question of the day. What is your favorite anime OP? Y'all know mine is Kickback for sure. Comment down below and get a chance to get shouted out. Continuing with the Mappa Circle Jerk, I want to talk about Katana Man versus Chainsaw Man fight. The amount of time dedicated to animating that fight must have been mind-blowing. Not only does Mappa animate fluid and quick movements, every single blow feels realistic. I just want to make a note about Aki's fighting style. It's super realistic and adds to the overall aesthetic of the show. Overall, 10 out of 10. Anime of the year. I'm talking about 2022. Who knows what awaits us in the 2023 anime season? Stay tuned for more anime recaps.